Well, hey there, friends. I'm Jack. And this is Raw Tropical Living. Thanks for joining me today. Man, I hope you had near as nice a Saturday as it is here. Man, the weather is absolutely just about perfect today. I think the temp's about 57, 58, blue skies. And as soon as I shoot this video, I'm about to go down here to the park. Although I don't know, I might have to start limiting my park time a little bit for just a little while. We're heavy on the pollen is starting to come down, and I'm actually thinking that might have made me kind of given me that little bit of wonkiness these last couple of weeks. But who knows? Who knows? Today, we're just going to do a little talk on we find what we seek, creating our own world. Guys, I do videos every day. So if you're not already subscribed to the channel, please go down there now and hit the subscribe button. Then immediately click on the little bell and immediately check send notifications so you'll stay subscribed to the channel. You know, I have a lot of time spending all the time that I do on my own and by myself. I have a lot of time to be introspective. I have a lot of time to think. I have a lot of time to observe. Now, I'm not like focusing on these things, but I'm on social media a lot, you know, sharing content, doing what I do and what have you. Instagram, Facebook. Facebook's a little bit more of just kind of reading and kind of I keep up with friends there. I am in a couple of groups I enjoy and I do a few things. But the one thing I notice all the time is it just seems it's always been like that. I know when people say in this day and age, but we're human beings. Human beings, they may get more complex because of our modernization or not. But we pretty much are still human beings and we still have the same frailties and problems. What I'm getting at here is I see so many sad sacks out there. I see so many people and I see so much stuff that's just like, God almighty, that's so freaking depressing. Is that all you put in front of your eyes all day? Is that all that you focus on all day? And so many of these people, and I'll make comments on social media sometime, and the people that are not very social media savvy, they don't even understand how the algorithm works, how engagement goes, how you can filter things out. They're just like, they're at the mercy of whatever. It's almost like they have no control over what they see. And in a way, I'm just going to come out and say it. When you're doing like that, you can't really complain because you're a weak human being. They keep people on their friends list out of obligation. I see that one on Facebook a lot. They have people on, that they're connected to. Well, they're my family, they're my friends. So what? They're assholes. Get rid of them. Or they just focus on things that are negative. They're out there, looking for the news articles. Everything, and I know we have a lot of problems in society and there are problems that need to have light shown on them. But I'm talking about that mentality, that personality type that is constantly creating. They're creating their world of darkness around them. I started thinking about this the other day when I was on one of my afternoon walks. I didn't go down to the park, coincidentally. I went just walking downtown. And as I'm walking downtown, I was going to the park. I had to stop by the post office for something. Then I saw a real pretty tree that, since we had a little bit of warm weather the last week or so, we've got some blooms on trees. Been trying to get a photo of this tree for a while, so I went over and I took a photo. I did a couple of clips for stories on Instagram. And then I saw another tree across the street, or a bush. I think this might have been roses. And I said, ooh, those are real pretty. So I walked across the street. It was in off to the side of a church, one of the local churches. Beautiful, beautiful flowers. I just stood there and enjoyed them for a few minutes, took a few photos, did a few stories, and then I'm like, and I felt as I kept going and seeing these things, my happiness level just kind of kept going up. There's just a smile on my face when you're seeking things and you're seeing things like this. How can you not? So I started walking and I said, well, you know what? I go to the park every day. It was getting later in the afternoon and I was not going to be down there long anyway. So I said, I go to the park every day. Let's just walk around. I walked over by the courthouse, which is really picturesque because I'm in a small town. And then I walked down into this little park that's on the side of the courthouse, different from the one I go to. And in the course of the way, I saw like probably overall, I saw 5 or 6 different flowers, and some of the beauty was just amazing. And I got close to them, and they're little bitty flowers, but they're just vibrant with color. I tell you what, I'll add a few in right here and show them to you, share them with you. Now, there's not a lot of blooms down in the park where I normally talk about and where I normally walk and where I share all the time on Instagram stories, but that's the kind of stuff I'm constantly doing. If I ever disappear for 4 or 5 days, y'all need to track down to this town and see if I'm locked up in some facility somewhere, because they're going to throw a net over me and think I'm crazy. I walk around through that park. I usually focus on this is really strange. I like having my featured tree of the day in my mind. Like I go by, and since I've been walking here so much over the time that I've been in this little town, I walk around and I pick a couple of new trees every day, and I just really focus on them. Now, after you walk around this park over and over and over, you start getting pretty familiar with the trees. But I start noticing all these little things, and I actually stop as I'm walking, and I stop and I look at these trees, and I see, oh, there's a different one. Oh, that's a pretty one over there. I see a squirrel run over here. I stop to see the birds. I'm that crazy guy. You know that saying, stop and smell the roses? I do it. I do it. I stop and smell the roses. I stop and look at the birds over here. I do all those things. Now, the point of that being is I'm creating what I want in my life. I'm not sitting around. You know, I said this, I posted something that same night out of some photos. I think these same photos I took. And I said, you know what? If I look back, and this is just experiential for me, when I used to seek filth, I always found filth. When I used to seek a reason to be angry, I could find multiple reasons to be angry. Now I go outside this house expecting, looking for beauty. I look for colors. I look for nature. I look for the little things that bring the most beauty, because they do. I mean, I've seen little butterflies. I've seen so many small things that most people don't even notice. And you know what? How valuable they are? They put a smile on my face. And to me, something that can put a smile on my face and elevate my mood and keep me in a peaceful, calm place, that's my thing. That's what I'm looking for. You know, I can't do the thing, and I'm talking about I look for it in real life, and I look for it in my online life too. I don't follow anybody out of obligation. I don't follow people that share stuff that's downers or depressing. I'm not saying I don't follow people that share real problems going on in the world, but there's a balance. Just make sure you're listening to that, because it's always that Saturday night person that comes in fueled on those drugs. Take a Valium, cuz, and chill out. That like takes something literal or takes one little piece out of context. Yes, there are problems out there. Yes, we can share things that are not necessarily positive, but what I'm talking about is all the time. And another one too is the focus on it and the never-ending just arguing, talking about it, whatever. I'll see somebody post, say, it can be whatever. It can be political. It can be some activist cause. It can be something horrible that they're against. It can be something terrible that was done to somebody. It can be whatever. And then the argument starts, and somebody will go back and forth all day, and then they will complain about how people do this to them online. They do that to them online. I'm telling you, you can believe it or not, or you can hide your head in the sand. I completely control my online experience, and you can too. And if you're not seeing what you want to see on Facebook or Instagram or wherever, shut up and stop telling everybody about it, because you're choosing it. You're finding what you're seeking, and you're creating your world. I'm creating mine, you're creating yours. No harm, no foul. I'm not going to tell you that you're wrong. I'm not going to tell you that you should think a different way, do it differently, blah, blah, blah. But that's just the way that I look at things. And I'll tell you, it's so much different than my life used to be. I mean, like I always say, I don't want to make it look like this. I went from being a horrible, hateful person. I wasn't a bad person, and I did, notice a lot of these things, especially living in Costa Rica, but I also look back and think of all the things I missed, all those dark years of drinking. And you know, when you're drinking all the time, you're either drunk, and then when you're hungover, you're edgy and you're always angry. And I was always sarcastic, and I was always a smart ass with people, and I always, you know, if anything I complained, I would be like, oh God, why do we have to wait here? Why do we have to do that? And I was miserable. I was miserable. Like I say, and it just, you know, not a lot of people can relate, but it wasn't just the food that I changed coming up on 7 years ago. When I made the change, I flipped a big fucking switch that changed a whole lot of things. And I decided one day, there was no process. I didn't work towards it. I didn't work towards doing this, loving myself, blah, blah, blah. I flipped a switch. And I decided I wasn't going to live in darkness anymore. I wasn't going to focus on things that brought me down. I said, if I put my attention, if I put my focus on positive things, on beautiful things, on things that make my life better, that make my life happier, that just makes sense. I can either choose things that make me happier. I can choose things that frustrate me, give me stress, and, you know, don't make me a happy person. So it's out there. People want to argue all they want and you know, this and that and the other, but we, to a large extent, we create our world. Even when horrible things happen to us, you know, it's like once the horrible thing has happened, yes, it can be very, very horrible, but you can't, nothing's going to happen just sitting there going, yeah, but it's really bad. Okay, it's horrible. I acknowledge that. You're in a bad situation, but what are you going to do with that? You know, that's what most of it is. It's what do they say? It's 10% what it actually is and 90% perception. That makes a lot of sense to me. I'm going to just end. This isn't really necessarily in line 100% with the thought of this, but it's still a nice quote on the seeking and finding. It's a quote by Ralph Waldo Emerson. What we seek, we shall find. What we flee from, frees from us. That's a good one right there. What we, what is it? I was thinking about that recently. About the flee from part. What we resist, persist. You know, and it's just is what it is. Emerson and I enjoy his work. I don't read near enough. That's one of the things in my life to create my world that I would like to get back to, is just random reading for fun and reading, you know, poetry and literature, and not anything that's going to educate me or anything else, but just for enjoyment, just for my own edification. So anyhow, just kind of free flowed today. Didn't have a reading. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up, and we'll see you tomorrow. Have a great weekend, guys. Peace.